So around a year ago, I reviewed Kids Night and Adults Night for Magical Mario Bros. In a versus review, and I remember being particularly harsh towards the two videos for both wasting my time and, in the case of Adult Night, being a crappy vlog video, except somehow even worse in every conceivable way. And besides what I'm going to be looking at today, I haven't watched much else aside from what I listened in that video, because Magical as a channel is an active black hole of creativity. Every idea I saw from him just has the skin of someone else who's far better than him. Although that's not exactly saying a lot. And anything else this channel had to offer, I could just go to someone else and have a much better time. Magical is a nothing channel with nothing content. That is, up until recently, when the channel went under a massive overhaul where every single video has been deleted, as the channel is now going forward in a more mature direction. And I use the word mature very loosely, since it's not mature in the sense that it would talk about issues with respect, whilst keeping a consistent tone and theme, and really making you think about what it's trying to say. I mean mature in the sense that it's literally just Path of the Psycho minus the casual sociopathy. And also with far less potential to cause genuine damage to the perception of mental health and disorders, because writing sure is difficult. I'm getting really tired of every single plush series that tries to be mature just walk around with the skin of this toxic, miserable snooze fest, because not only is Path of the Psycho devoid of anything of actual quality outside of a few very rare shining moments where the character is actually given a consequence for his terrible actions, but it's also one of the least mature things I've ever watched, because it can never pick a lane between crappy Netflix drama and an actual heartfelt story. And guess what Magical's new series feels like? Now, I'm obviously not going to be talking about this series like there's a full season out, since obviously there's only one actual episode besides the pilot. This video is simply going to serve as a first impression to this new style of content by analyzing the plot in the first episode of the series in extensive detail, because there's so much that can be said on just where these two videos go wrong. So with that out of the way, let's finally talk about Magical's new series, Magical Mario Bros. I mean, at least it isn't this atrocity. So we open on Full House.
We had so many fries that we had to be resuscitated.
Junior, that was you.
Oh, yeah.
Am I watching Nick at Night?
Sometimes it's about the dicks. I think I need help.
So yeah, the first thing we're introduced to when Magical decides to take his channel in a more mature direction is a laugh track and humor that's slightly less obnoxious than a Nickelodeon sitcom that doesn't actually try. I definitely don't regret this.
Hey guys, you ready to go? Sorry, we can't. We're waiting for Shy Guy still. I can't deal with this shit today. Luigi and I have to go get our haircuts before the four of us go out tonight.
Oh, by the way, just to get this out of the way now, the dialogue in both of these videos is hilariously broken. Some scenes like this will feel like two separate scenes spliced into one, with no actual thought put into how it would flow, which was obviously not the intention, but the dialogue comes across as the creator didn't properly structure the scene, which is funny because this scene requires no effort to actually structure properly, and it's still a broken mess. That's just kinda sad, honestly. Mario comes in to take Yoshi and Junior to school, and after some Full House music, Junior fails to rizz up a girl, and this scene is actually a really good example of just how incompetently made this pilot is. And yes, I did say incompetent.
Good morning, Yoshi.
And good morning to you, gorgeous.
Hello.
But still playing hard to get, huh?
You want to get to me, champ.
Damn it, Claire, what do I gotta do to win your undying love? You're the center of my universe. You make my heart function.
This is just a small portion of an Empire State Building sized problem with this video, but to keep it brief so I can discuss it better when more examples come along, this video expects you to buy a lot of stuff that you can't really buy because of the fact that it's a pilot. It's hard to explain for right now, but it'll become more and more obvious as we continue through the pilot. This is why I just want to keep this point simple for now, as what I mean and why I think this doesn't work exactly doesn't make the most sense for right now, but it'll make more sense as we keep going, I promise. So the principal comes into the room and says that a teacher that Junior and Yoshi like has resigned permanently, which leaves them distraught and wondering how Shy Guy is going to take it. That is, after humor that I believe is intended for 7th grade dropouts.
Hey, Yoshi, why do you think the principal's in our classroom?
I wish I knew, Junior. Principals only ever show up when shit's about to hit the fan.
Language, Yoshi!
Sorry, Principal Lakitu. fucking prude.
It's honestly kind of impressive just how incapable this channel is at making me laugh. And it's not because I'm stuck up or take stuff too seriously or whatever. There's just the lowest common denominator and the cheapest, laziest sense of humor you can ever think of. It's modern Family Guy humor without the shock factor, and it's somehow even worse than that by like 1,000, because every single attempt at humor is either just the creator getting bricked up during the recording session, or the most amateur hour banter or wit that I've seen since Thug Life. And if you watch that series, you know how absolutely god-awful the dialogue is there.
I'm sorry, Junior. We're best buds and all, but she's got a point. You can't be such a simp.
Sticking out your yacht, you're so scary.
Like, you can just tell that despite the age warning in the beginning of the video, he still clearly can't break away from the type of humor and dialogue that will only have a slight prayer of working with middle school kids. It's painfully unfunny and incredibly repetitive when that's the only type of comedy you'd be getting for the majority of the video. You want to know why I'm able to watch an older Bowser Power video and laugh way more at that video's first 30 seconds than anything I've seen from just about any plush YouTuber past 2019? That's because Bowser Power was actually smart with his humor. His channel was more in line with something you'd see on Cartoon Network or Disney Channel, so he had to find clever ways to make his humor in a way that can not only appeal to all audiences, but stay within those kid-friendly guidelines that he set for himself. But whenever there's a more adult plus channel, they almost always go for these low-hanging fruit jokes about sex, or just have the characters be dicks to each other for the sake of being dicks. It's painfully lazy. Anyways, the principal calls for an early dismissal, which leads us back to Mario and Luigi, where we get confirmation that the two of them are bisexual. Bold choice to do something like this, considering the main face of the plush community is most likely homophobic, but I respect the hustle nonetheless. So coming back down to reality for a sec, Mario gets a call from, I'm assuming, Shy Guy's parents to say that Shy Guy got into a car crash and died from it, and it leaves everyone in the room unable to find a way to tell Junior and Joseph. Gonna skim over the next couple scenes because I'm gonna talk about them all in conjunction, since they all contribute to the massive problem with the pilot that I alluded to earlier within the review. Also because this video, despite being only 12 minutes long, is paced really badly, especially around the middle where it slows to a crawl, and I'll elaborate on this later because it also has something to do with this problem. Junior and Joseph get home and are told about the news about Shy Guy's passing, and Junior takes it extremely hard. This leads to a scene where Junior and Yoshi are sitting down outside and Koopa approaches them, prompting Junior to snap at him, with the reasoning being that Koopa scammed him in what I'm assuming was an earlier video on the channel prior to this pilot. And there it is. All of these moments that I've talked about, where it sets up very crucial plot details, references previous events from previous videos, and expects the viewer to understand why the characters are acting the way they are, and why these plot points mean so much to the characters, it wouldn't be an issue if this wasn't a pilot. The job of a pilot is to simply give people a reason to keep watching your series when it actually debuts, by introducing people to the characters, overall plot and concept, and the world that the series takes place in. You can drop small hints here and there about a bigger story, but you should never do anything more than that because it's simply too much information. I actually think it's the opposite problem of most magical videos I've seen, where while most magical videos have way too few ideas, it feels like here the video has way too many ideas. And what makes this worse is that the video still carries over a trait from those older videos where it feels the need to stretch out an idea for way longer than it should because there's no other material to work with. So now, while there are ideas every couple of minutes being shoved into the video haphazardly, the video still wants to stretch out the ideas it already had to begin with, yet still wants to introduce new ideas, while those scenes that are being stretched out are still being stretched out and still ongoing. And considering this is Magical Mario Bros we're talking about, how did you think that works out? It's as every single bit as messy as it sounds, and absolutely nothing is coherent. Story points barely connect within this pilot because of the fact that there's nothing to connect, because it's just throwing random events at a wall and disguising it as a cohesive story. It's a paper-thin narrative that's only glued together with the most bare minimum structuring that barely keeps it from completely falling apart. And what's worse about all this is the fact that with moments like Shy Guy dying in a car crash and hitting everybody hard, and with Junior being incredibly hostile to Koopa, these are moments that are callbacks to previous events within older Magic or Mario Bros videos, which wouldn't be as bad if it wasn't for the fact that any video that could help newcomers to understand why exactly all this means so much and why this is all happening is now lost to the void. Anybody who wasn't an avid fan of this channel has now no frame of reference weeks for when these scenes play out. And anyone who is an avid fan, all 4 of them, will undoubtedly be overwhelmed by all these plot points that have no reason to be here, because this video should only be introducing surface level features about the series since it's a pilot. And it can't even be bothered to establish the personalities of everyone. You know what a pilot should be focused on, because it expects you to know the personalities of the characters from the older videos, but how are newcomers supposed to understand the personalities of the characters when all of that information is hidden behind videos that you can no longer watch? And even if the videos do come back up eventually, too little too late. The damage from this stupid move is already done. I've heard that this rebrand was an attempt to pull in a new fan base of older audiences, but if this is truly the goal, this is the worst way to go about doing this, because the only people who will be able to enjoy this pilot, and by extension the series, are people who have been watching the channel for a long period of time and are aware of the details this pilot is going in depth with. And they have to also be okay with the style that these videos are trying to go for, which is a hard sell considering the tone and nature of this pilot is not only very inconsistent, but also one that has been done by far better people. So by default, the audience for this new series is going to be extremely limited, and you can tell just by the massive drop in viewership between the pilot and episode 1. Conceptually, this series is already a disaster before it's even started. Any way you try to look at the decision of deleting the older videos, even if it turns out to be a short amount of time, it's unbelievably dumb and ruins any chance this series has at trying to capture a new audience, because they're gonna look at this pilot, have absolutely no clue what's going on, and then jump ship. I obviously can't say for sure that this is what's gonna happen, or what has happened considering the drop in viewership between videos, but it's not unlikely. As for the rest of the pilot, nothing much is left within it, except for everyone talking to Junior about how to handle his emotions whilst undergoing the trauma that has been caused due to his best friend passing away. I will say it is rather touching seeing these characters actually care for each other, since it is quite rare to see characters in plush videos actually care for each other, but it also comes at the expense of Bowser saying that he wasn't always the best father to Junior, and he's going to work on being better, which is another moment that viewers are expected to know the context of, despite this being the pilot, and we should not be getting crucial plot details like this. I've given a lot of crap to Path of the Psycho over the years, and while that series is 10 times worse than Magical's for how horrendously it handles its themes and gives out genuinely harmful and damaging perceptions on mental health and disorders, it at the very least puts some effort when it comes to establishing its characters and plots. It crashes and burns almost every single time, but you can at least see an attempt. Whereas Magical puts in no effort aside from putting on the skin of older videos and obscuring information to the viewer, so by default, whatever audience he's trying to obtain will be, and probably already have been, turned away from the series because of this reason. I've gone on long enough about how much of a mess this pilot is, so I think it's time to move on to the actual first episode. It begins with Mario, Luigi, Bowser, and Kamek recalling the events of the pilot, which is not what you're supposed to do, but whatever at this point. This leads to them recalling what they all did at the club last night, leading to this painful exchange of dialogue.
Someone got us banned from our favorite club! Hey, it wasn't completely my fault. How was I supposed to know you can't tell the strippers, you won't get a dime from my pocket unless you're losing them sockets? Oh yeah, because that totally makes them want them to show your tits, Bowser. Really makes the panties drop. Okay, can you guys please chill the fuck out, please?
This humor is going to be enjoyed by 12-year-old boys who are experiencing hormones for the first time and nobody else. Hazbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss didn't make me groan this much, for Christ's sake. Mario goes to check on Junior and Yoshi before going to the club, and they said they're getting ready for bed for school tomorrow, and anyone who is able to rub 2 semi-functioning brain cells together is able to tell they're not going to do this. And then after a painfully long exchange of dialogue between the characters in the car, we get this painful recreation of the Full House intro that somehow looks even more bland. And the rest of the video is genuinely one of the most boring and uninteresting YouTube videos that I've ever had the displeasure of watching. These characters are personality vacuums that just do random things because the plot demands it and then get drunk because maturity. And the pacing in episode 1 is so much worse than the pilot. Like, Magical's videos were already agonizing enough to sit through, but these 2 videos, especially this one, it's just on another level of boring. I have watched videos of paint drying that's more intriguing than a video on this channel. The only noteworthy thing in this entire video is the scene where Bowser asks for a lap dance with a girl. Oh, I'm sorry, the 4 scenes where he asks for a lap dance, because that's a normal thing to put in your YouTube video that kids are most likely going to be watching. You might as well just completely skip this video because there's such little substance here. I mean, maybe the scene where Luigi says he still misses Peach, But why would that even be worth anything if this is just another moment that has no meaning to it because its context is locked behind the 100+ videos that can go down again at a moment's notice? I mean, I'll give Magical Daisy's at least consistent with making the blandest YouTube videos I've ever had the misery of watching. And again, it's not just because I'm a stuck-up asshole. Like, people are actively turning this channel off and going to watch somebody who's either funnier than this or more compelling than this. It's to the point where it's hard to tell who this channel is even trying to appeal to. Kids clearly aren't the target audience, and teens and adults alike will look at this channel and either be annoyed to death with the humor or bored out of their mind with the most milquetoast back and forth dialogue that you can ever imagine. So who is this channel trying to entertain? I don't even have a proper thesis to end this video with. This new series is just that uninteresting. I probably won't be reviewing any Magical anytime soon unless there's something truly awful that he does. Okay, never mind. There's just nothing interesting to talk about here. And anything I can say, I already said with Blake, because they're basically the same channel at this point. I know I've said this a lot, and I apologize for the redundancy, but I don't mean what I'm about to say more than when I say it now. If you want anything that this channel is trying to provide, my best advice to you is to watch literally anything else. This channel is constantly wasting your time for no benefit, annoying you with cheap sexual humor that not even Hasbro Hotel would make, actively hiding all information you need in videos you can't even watch anymore, all while pretending to be a mature, profound series, despite being one of the most immature things I've ever seen. It's a kid running around the playground screaming slurs that his dad was shouting after his favorite football team lost a game, and it's a walking, talking corpse that it's only capable of regurgitating old ideas and doing nothing with them. So why even bother? I'm done here. I hope we learned something today about actual maturity, or at the very least, how not to be mature. Have a good rest of your day.